Welcome to Diplomatic Channel. I am Amarachi Ubani. This week we're still reeling from the shock that two Nigerians were killed in the UK and in Italy. Fola Orebi was reportedly stabbed to death in a street in Notting Hill, London, by a gang of youths. He was said to have collapsed and bled to death despite all efforts by paramedics to resuscitate him. Fola was stabbed in front of shocked passers-by and tourists who saw him fall down after being stabbed in the neck and tried to get back on his feet again. He was just 17 years old and had completed his General Certificate of Secondary Education at Holland Park in London before the stabbing. The incident happened on July 3rd. Now, 2 days later, 36-year-old Emmanuel Nnamdi was killed in a racist attack in the Italian town of Fermo. Emmanuel was defending his partner, Chinyere, from racist slurs hurled at her. Police said the violence escalated when a traffic pole was pulled from the ground. Emmanuel later died in hospital. By Friday, police said they had a suspect, a man they identified as a 35-year-old Amidio Mancini, who said he had punched Emmanuel in self-defense. No one can say for sure exactly what happened on Tuesday, July 5th, but police have promised to get to the bottom of it, and Italian authorities have granted Chinyere asylum in Italy. Both incidents have been condemned by the Nigerian government through the senior special advisor in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Abike Eroa. I remember she was the chairman, House Committee on Diaspora Matters in the previous administration, so she's always been concerned about the welfare of Nigerians living abroad. Shortly after these two incidents came to light, she issued a statement condemning them and promising that the Nigerian government will do all it can to get to the bottom of this and make sure that the lives of her citizens are well protected. She later spoke to us about the Nigerian government's response to the killings.
We responded immediately and made it clear that this will not be tolerated by this administration. Fola was killed, as of course you know, a 17-year-old young chap who just finished his college education, was killed in very devastating circumstances. Apart from issuing a statement immediately condemning the act, we've also been in touch with the British High Commission here, as well as the family of Fola. We've been able to establish contact with the mother, and we'll be sending a letter as instructed by Mr. President to the mother. And for the case of Chidi in Italy, well, that was a serious case of a racial attack. And in as much as the mayor was on top of the situation, and in fact he said he was embarrassed at that, we take exception to Nigerians being killed anywhere in the world, as Mr. President has directed, and that will not be condoned by Nigeria. And in the case of Emmanuel Chidi, we're also trying to establish contact with the family and pay the condolence of Mr. President to his family too. And for the case of Folajimi, we're glad that 4 people have been arrested in connection with his death. And in the case of Chidi, I think 1 person has been arrested, and the person is known to be a serious racist. We've had cases even before this where we've had to intervene in maltreatment of Nigerians abroad, though it did not become a media sensation. Gone are the days when this will happen to Nigerians and we keep quiet. We're not going to keep quiet. We're going to ensure that our citizens are treated with respect, with dignity, and respect begets respect. Of course, we're going to stress that if you commit a crime, you will pay for the crime. But we have many cases of Nigerians who didn't commit any crime and are treated shabbily. Many cases of Nigerians being sentenced to even death for offenses they didn't commit. So we're going to ensure we intervene in those cases. And we indeed have been intervening with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, though they are not media cases, but indeed in the last few months, a lot of intervention has been done on the part of the office and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Now, remember, apart from these 2 cases, there was another case that you followed up very closely, which is the case of the son of Aisha Falodi, the veteran sports newscaster, sports journalist. You do have some updates on that story.
Well, the case of Aisha Falodi's son, you recall it happened in the last administration. You remember Mr. President was in Dubai some time ago without any prompting. This was a matter that was brought up with the Dubai authorities. But the sad case about Toba Falodi, Aisha Falodi's son, is that the guy who committed the act has actually relocated from Dubai. So it's a bit difficult to do anything at this point in time. When we should have done something as a nation, we did nothing. The only institution that spoke then was the parliament. The speaker then, Aminu Tambuwa, indeed set up a 3-man committee, but there was no cooperation from the executive level. But now President Buhari has directed we reopen the case, but unfortunately, The guy who committed the offense has left that country, gone to his country, so it just might be a bit difficult. What are you going to do? Ask Dubai to repatriate him? But that is a very sad case, and it's a case that tells us that we must act fast when things happen to our brothers and sisters in the diaspora.
This past week have also been a trying one for the African-American community in the United States. The number of people who died went from 1 to about 7. It all began with the fatal shooting of 37-year-old Alton Sterling outside a store in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Tuesday, and 32-year-old Philando Castile near St. Paul, Minnesota on Wednesday. Both were shot point blank by police officers. Their videos have gone viral on the internet and sadly stirred the wrong feelings in the black community in the U.S., resulting in the deaths of 5 policemen in Dallas.
It's not the first time police in the United States have been involved in shooting citizens without seemingly being provoked, triggering the Black Lives Matter campaigns all across the country. The video of the Alton Sterling shooting in Baton Rouge only raised tension again of racial profiling. The video, recorded on a mobile telephone, showed 2 Baton Rouge police officers shooting dead 37-year-old Sterling, who was pinned to the ground. The Baton Rouge Police Department have said there cannot be conclusion on the matter by just watching the video, and say they've launched a full investigation into what happened. The Baton Rouge Police Department said there can be no conclusion on the matter by just watching the video, and say they've launched a full investigation into what happened.
I'm so sorry.
But as expected, it sparked the beginning of a wave of Black Lives Matter protest, which became bigger when Diamond Reynolds live-streamed aftermath of her boyfriend, Philando Castile, who was shot dead by a police officer after being pulled aside for a taillight offense on Facebook in Minnesota. The 10-minute video was posted on YouTube shortly after.
I'm the one, my daughter is the one that was there. The police officer stopped us for a busted taillight that was not busted. They pulled us over on the side of the road, asked for license and registration. As he was reaching for his license and registration, he told the officer that he was licensed to carry and had a bare arm. As he got back comfortable, the police took 4 or 5 shots into him for no reason.
The St. Anthony Police Department said only that an unidentified black man was wounded during a traffic stop in Falcon Heights, Minnesota at 9 p.m. local time on Wednesday, July 6th. The Justice Department said it was assessing the Minneapolis area incident, but did not say if it would start a formal investigation into whether excessive force was used. Peaceful protests across the country turned violent when snipers said to be operating from rooftops in Dallas killed 5 police officers and wounded 6 more in a coordinated attack during one of the protests. Police had taken 3 people into custody before a 4th suspect died from what police said was self-inflicted gunshot after a standoff that extended into Friday morning. Police later said there was only a sniper in the attack and identified him as 25-year-old Micah Johnson, a military veteran of the Afghan War who had no previous criminal convictions. Investigators say weapons and bomb-making equipment were found in his home. He was said to have posted an angry rant against white people on the Facebook page of a group called Black Panther Party Mississippi last Saturday. U.S. President Barack Obama, while condoling with all the victims, said the prevalence of guns in U.S. society is one factor behind American violence, and the fact that there was a gun in the car contributed to the shooting of a black man in Minnesota. Political contenders in the upcoming U.S. elections have also condemned the shooting of the 2 black men and the police officers. Republican presumptive nominee Donald Trump said the brutal attack on police in Dallas was an attack on the United States, while Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton said police killings show implicit bias and has called for national guidelines on the use of force by police.
When we come back after the break, U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, James Entwistle, shares his thoughts on the shootings in his country, the upcoming elections, and Nigeria. Just stay with us.